under the leadership of CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping as its core, the establishment of China's comprehensive transport system made breakthroughs. And we have taken a solid step forward towards building China into a strong transport power. And there are three main areas. First, infrastructure. In the past 5 years, we saw the largest investment and the biggest effort in building the network. The 8 corridors, the comprehensive transport system has completed over 90% of its targets. Secondly, transport services for passenger and cargo and oil transport, we rank among the top in the world in terms of the major indexes. For example, the port's throughput account for 1/3 of the world's total. For delivery number, we have registered over 200 billion. For 12 years in a row, China ranked number 1 in the world. Third, technological equipment. The level of modernization has been greatly boosted. For example, the C-119 aircraft carried over 4 million passengers. And for the automated ports, they are also leading the way in the world in terms of the level of automation. And as to the plan for the 15th five-year plan period, during the 2 sessions, we reviewed the plan, specifically laying out the measures about improving the modernized comprehensive transport system. And we dedicated efforts to the 6 major projects about building that comprehensive transport system. As to implementation, the most significant measure is about one network and 4 measures. The One Network refers to the establishment of a high-quality national comprehensive transport system. In details, for one thing, we must be committed to increasing the increment. Especially, we must further raise the 90% of the main framework to over 95% of completion and coverage. And for another, we must improve the stock volume, especially for those long-serving, low-quality transport infrastructure with less level of safety. We must upgrade them. As to the 4 priorities, we must highlight integration and safety level, the improvement of intelligence level, and green development. For example, first, integration. The priorities will be given to the cross-regional, cross-sector integration with diversified methodologies. For example, for traveling, the metropolis intercity transport efficiency improvement must be carried out so that nationwide, the 1-hour commuting region must be able to cover a larger population. As to logistics, we have a multi-city joint transport system. And within 1 hour, we must improve the efficiency of transition. Second, the level of safety must be elevated. Especially, priorities must be given to the loopholes of safety areas. And we must be able to improve the overall safety level of transport system. Every year, the flood may damage the roads at the distance of 120,000 kilometers. During the 15th five-year plan period, road safety resilience improvement project will be continued. We will carry out the road and the bridge safety operation improvement plan so that all the bridges, the roads will have dynamic development while ensuring safety. Third, digitalization and intelligence improvement. The key will be about implementing the AI Plus campaign and the development of intelligent transport. In the next 5 years, we will take comprehensive measures to implement AI Plus road inspection scenarios with scaling up. For the intelligent ports, intelligent navigation, we will try to improve the intelligence level. Fourth, green development and transition. As is known to all, transportation operation is the main area for emission control, with a contribution ratio of about 10% of the nation's total. During the next 5 years, we will aim at the carbon peaking and carbon neutrality goals and push forward the zero carbon corridor development and station establishment. The new energy ships and vessels and vehicles will be applied on a larger scale, including those equipment. In the future, the 15th five-year plan will be put onto the ground, and the transport plan version will be also bolstered. Thank you.
Next question, please.
部长你好，我是四川广播电视台四川观察的记者。
With
交
Sichuan
通运输是
TV
服务保障民生的
and
重要
media
领域。
group, so
请问今
transportation
年
is
交通运输部在
important
服务保障民
means
生方面
for
有哪些
guaranteeing
举
the
措？谢
well-being
谢。
of people. So what measures will be taken to ensure a better well-being of the people? Transportation provides services to millions of families and has close connection with people's work and life. So I would like to provide a group of statistics in terms of cross-region travels. Nationally, on a daily basis, on high-speed roads, 30 million vehicles are traveling, cars are traveling, and about 2 million are taking the civil aviation flights. In terms of the intercity travels, nationally speaking, on a daily basis, about 100 million people are taking a subway to travel to work, and about 1 million are taking the buses. 100 million are taking the buses, and another 100 million are taking the e-hailing cars or taxis. In terms of the delivery services, on a daily basis, we collect 550 million packages, and on a daily basis, each person would receive 3 packages on a weekly basis. These statistics has close connection to people's daily lives, which means that transportation serves a fundamental function in terms of service and the improvement of the well-being of the people. So we will keep Comrade Xi Jinping's words at heart. We prioritize the urgencies and emergencies raised by the people. So we will take measures from the following 3 aspects. First, we will focus on travels in general in order to ensure a more smooth traveling of the people. We will strengthen our responsibilities in this regard. To be more specific, we have 3 focuses. First, we will focus on building of a service platform to facilitate travels. We have cultivated this express trains to the scenic spots and also express flights across the regions. And also we will optimize the system for passenger vehicles leasing. Second, we will strengthen the connection services for transport so as to facilitate travels. We need to leverage our comprehensive advantages in transport, especially the connection between flights and trains and roads and airport. So in the future, we will have more one-time service that can provide the passengers with multiple flights or travel times. And 3, we will prioritize the travels during special time, such as holidays and vacations, with very big volume of passengers. That is especially the Spring Festival, the Labor Day, as well as the national holidays. So the numbers of passengers were usually double compared to the average level. We could see that the numbers of passengers travel through the high-speed railway as well as the roads will increase by a large margin during these special holidays. Therefore, we have to make comprehensive plans and guard against possible risks so as to facilitate people's travel and make sure that the travels are smooth and safe. Second, we will focus on the small details, such as the improvement of the service sector on high-speed roads. And currently, we have already built more than 4,200 service sectors. So one on average of one service sector will be set up every 50 kilometers, and we will focus on the improvement of the quality of these service stations. We will first improve the e-charging station services, and now the rate of coverage has already reached 98.8%. And this year, we will be increasing the level of power supply in these e-charging stations so as to ease the pressure, especially during the holidays. Second, we will also be renovating the toilets of the service areas so that more aging population can have access to stalls to And third, we will also be providing better services to the truck drivers and also the drivers of the large lorries. We have been building the better service sector to the truck drivers and lorry drivers and provide free services such as bathing, dining, and resting. So we call this service the homes of the truck drivers. We will ensure that the truck drivers can have access to hot food, hot water, and hot baths during their long-distance travels. 3. We will also focus on the building of transportation system in rural areas to better service the rural revitalization projects. According to the instructions of General Secretary Xi Jinping, the rural work and the building of infrastructure is very important. Since the 18th National Congress, we have already allocated more than 550 million yuan that can, in terms of transportation infrastructure, to benefit more than 500 million farmers. So the roads at the rural areas become roads of happiness and prosperity in the rural areas. During the 15th five-year plan, we will continue our efforts into promoting high-quality development in the rural areas. And we will focus more on the building and maintenance as well as operation of the rural roads and transport, and so as to increase the level of integration in the rural areas. Thank you.
Now let's invite Minister Han Jun of Agriculture and Rural Affairs. Morning, everyone. The floor is open.
请南区中间这位穿黑色上衣的女记者提问。
From People's Daily. Morning, Minister Han. This year, the government work report proposed that we must work unswervingly on the grain output, and according to the plan, we must improve the quality of food production and the efficiency. So how would your ministry act on that proposal? Thank you for the question. The country's development relies on the people's livelihood, and people feed themselves on food. For a large country with 1.4 billion population, the food security issue has remained top priority of national governance. According to President Xi, we must always hold the food security in our own hands in China. And especially we must rely on our independent food production because food security matters to the rights of survival. It matters to the national security. That's why this is an eternal topic. At any time, we must never slack on that target. And we must take the initiative of ensuring food security. After years of efforts, for the main agricultural products, including the grains, China has elevated its level of guarantee and supply. Last year, we had a bumper year with a total output of 1.43 trillion jin. For 2 years in a row, we have registered a number of about 1.4 trillion. Per capita output was above 500 kilograms, above the world's average. In addition to the grains, meat, eggs, fruits, vegetables, and milk had abundant supply as well. For your information, last year, meat output exceeded 100 million for the first time. It's about 72 jin per capita, also above the world's average. For eggs, we registered an output of 34.98 million tons, with per capita of 24 jin, also exceeding the level of that of developed nations. For water products, the total output was 76.57 million tons, with per capita ownership of 47, exceeding the world's average. For milk, per capita ownership was about 1/3 of the world's average. Last year, for fruits, we registered an output of 800 million tons. And for the total output, China ranked among the top in the world in the above-mentioned indicators. So it is fair to say that we have abundant supply of food, especially agricultural products, with a large number of varieties in the market. In any season, you can access those different varieties in the market. Due to extreme weather conditions that happened frequently in the past several years, why could we ensure food supply? That's thanks to the leadership of CPC with Comrade Xi Jinping as its core and the industrious efforts made by tens of millions of farmers, and also the insurance of the farmer-friendly policies, as well as the continued improvement of agriculture sector. During the past 5 years, the equipment of agriculture sector has been significantly improved, so modernization has come to a higher level in agriculture sector. Technology contribution in agriculture sector was 64%, and covering 96% of the total varieties of agricultural products. And machinery level was 76.7%. So we basically have realized mechanization. And as to intelligence level improvement and the digitalization transformation, we are also progressing. Different types of intelligent equipment are playing their roles in agriculture. Last year, for the UAVs, we adopted over 300,000 of UAVs in agriculture, ranking number 1 in the world, covering 460 million mu of arable land. For the irrigation robots, AI and laser-oriented mowers, we are also trying to apply them in agriculture sector. We have improved 460 million mu of high-quality arable land, totaling 1 billion mu of arable land in the past several years in total. So we have stronger capacity to relieve the disasters. And according to the government work report, we must never slack on the yield. 1.4 trillion gene of grain output was a major expected target this year. And our ministry must accurately and thoroughly execute on that policy. The capacity and output and the ecosystem must be worked on together to develop quality agriculture, branded agriculture, and green agriculture. We must ensure that for the major agricultural products, including grains, must have abundant supply at a higher level. The farmer's income must be boosted, and the efficiency of agricultural practices must be improved as well. We must ensure the numbers. That is to say, the capacity building must be taken as the top priority, and the new round of added output must be carried out in our campaign in order to stabilize the area of sowing agricultural products. And also we must improve the yield of the agricultural products so that for the seeds for the arable land must be sound and efficient, and technology must be highly applied in order to truly ensure stabilized output of grains. And there are two key issues to target at. The first one is seed, the other is arable land. Seed is like the chip in agriculture sector. On March the 5th, General Secretary Xi Jinping attended a review conference of Jiangsu delegation. He stressed that the seed industry is the most important thing for agriculture practitioners. After years of efforts, especially since 2021, we implemented the seed rejuvenation campaign. Now, the Chinese grains are mainly sowing the Chinese seeds for vegetables and aquatic products. Basically, we can ensure self-sufficiency. We are rooted in the Chinese varieties. For the Chinese agricultural products, we have set up such a seed library. We also studied the bumper ear big model for intelligent seeding, and the first smart seed breeding robot called the Jier was developed. We also have cultivated a group of high-yielding, disaster-proven varieties of seeds. And in the next step, we are going to implement that seed rejuvenation plan in order to make breakthroughs in the varieties of seeds so that we can be independent and the seed industry will be within our control and we can have efficient iteration of the seeds. That's how we get to the root of food security. And also, arable land is key. We must uphold that red line and avoid the non-agriculture utilization of arable land and pursue high-quality development of high-standard arable lands. And the new round of black land protection project must be executed. And we must also try to manage the saline and alkali soil to improve the quality of those arable land. And secondly, we must ensure the quality of the arable land, especially moving towards green development and optimize the land. We must cultivate new varieties and actively apply those green technologies, improve the processing level, and introduce stringent quality control mechanisms so that our land protection system will be resilient and adaptable. With the improvement of people's livelihood, they need more than sufficient food, but rather high quality and healthy food instead. So the work of agriculture must transition from just improving output to highlighting both varieties and quality. So we must improve the quality of agricultural products, especially those featured nutritious varieties. And we must be able to provide more tasteful and more nutritious agricultural products. And also marketing is important for those agricultural products. In the past, most of those agricultural products were just sold on the streets by the peddlers, and many of those agricultural products have never been processed, always just a very rough and simple processing before entering into the market. So they couldn't be sold at a high price. But now this has changed. Many optimized agricultural products could be reprocessed and packaged and utilize the power of e-commerce platforms to go out of the villages. And they are sold out online. So to improve the efficiency and quality of agriculture, must also work on the processing level of those agricultural products. We must have a categorized and a tiered assessment system of those agricultural products. And also for the cold chain transport in the logistics sector must be improved as well. And we must add more value to the different agricultural products. To that end, we must take solid steps to improve the quality and work on branding and standardized production. For the Chinese people, we must provide high quality and reputational agricultural products so agriculture will be modernized. And in that way, we can increase the farmers' income. So we must work on the quantity, quality, and diversity. By diversity, I mean we must set up a concept of big agriculture, big food. So agriculture, husbandry, and fishery will be developed together. They must be modernized and customized. And we must develop forestry economy to scale it up. We must set up such a diversified food supply system to meet by diversified demand of the Chinese people. After all, their demands are differentiated. And in our food consumption structure, people consume more oil. For milk and beans, consumption is relatively lower. We have communicated with National Health Commission about healthy diet popularization. Now, per capita oil consumption exceeded the 40% of the level recommended by scientific and healthy diet. For beans and milk, per capita intake is less than 60% of the recommended level by healthy diet. For milk consumption, China takes only 1/3 of the world's level. That's why we call upon a relative reduction of oil consumption and an increase of beans and milk consumption. I hope this could catch your attention. Thank you.
Next question, please. Thank you. With Farmers Daily, according to the work report of the government, the comprehensive revitalization of the rural area would be a priority, and the poverty alleviation is a top priority in work of this regard. So, Mr. Han, how will the Ministry of Rural Areas implement policies and measures to ensure the work of this regard? Well, General Secretary Xi Jinping has pointed out that the rural revitalization is key to the development of a national economy. So we've acted according to the deployment of the Central Party Committee and the State Council. And in the past year, we see massive progress in this aspect. First of all, the rural industry has taken a massive leap forward, and the processing rate of the agricultural product has been improved. And we saw major improvement in rural travels and e-commerce. Second, we also saw an upgrading in terms of environmental front. We see better levels of the garbage processing and toilet renovation and so on. Right now, 77% of the rural areas have access to clean toilet and modern toilet. And we also have a very modern garbage collecting and processing system. And right now, 55% of wastewater can be well processed in a scientific way in the rural areas. So the basic infrastructure of the rural areas has also been greatly improved. For example, the tap water now can be found in more than 90% of the rural areas, and 5G technologies can be found in more than 95% of the rural areas. In the past 5 years also, we have further consolidated the poverty alleviation effort, and the transition period has been successfully fulfilled. In the past 5 years, we have altogether helped more than 7 million people from prevented the 7 million people from coming back to poverty, and among the 3,000 poverty-stricken counties, the disposable income is up by 8.2%, which is faster than the national average by 0.8 percentage points. And we also see a higher level in terms of rural-urban integration and modernization in the rural areas. According to the government work report, we have greatly promoted rural revitalization and will continue that effort. The General Secretary pointed out that without rural modernization, there will be no modernization of the whole country. Overall speaking, the rural revitalization and modernization is lagging behind. In the 15th five-year plan, we will better cater to the needs of the pursuit of happiness of the rural areas residents and the farmers. We will continue to advance the rural modernization and push for better results. First of all, the rural areas should be a more enjoyable place to live in. We need to improve the environment as well as the basic infrastructure and the services in the rural areas, and we need to make up for those shortcomings. We need to facilitate the public services and the living environment of the rural areas so as to make sure that people in the rural areas can also lead a modern way of life. Second, we will also need to strengthen the rural civilization projects to improve the level of education and good culture in the rural areas. So according to the General Secretary, we must prevent this returning to the poverty from happening. So our poverty alleviation effort has been unprecedented in world history, and it goes hand in hand with rural revitalization effort. The past 5 years has been a transmission period for poverty alleviation, and after these 5 years, the result of poverty alleviation has been further consolidated. From this year on, this transition period will end when we'll usher in a new era of a normative poverty prevention effort. So the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Areas will continue to strengthen effort in this regard, to create new momentum, to build better social security systems so as to prevent this returning to the poverty phenomenon from happening. So this normative and more targeted poverty alleviation will not be possible without more measures to be taken. And during the transitional period, we have established a poverty monitoring system at the national level, and it covers all the poverty-stricken villages. Right now, we have a very well-established data-sharing platform concerning the poverty situation and could monitor the risks in a very timely manner, so as to facilitate more targeted measures against poverty. So we need to identify the risks at an early stage and provide much needed assistance to them. We also need to strengthen and extend the opportunities for migrant workers. And second, we need to prioritize the industries with locally featured industries. Now, 70% of the poverty-stricken families get out of poverty through migrant working. More than 38 million migrant workers are now working across different regions, and more than 13 million are working across in different provinces. And within the province, there are more than 20 million population. So most of the migrant workers are working within the province or even within their county, but away from home. Coming up, we will continue to provide better services and training programs for the workers and farmers as a whole. During the poverty alleviation effort, we have also developed a lot of special projects with a specific purpose to lift people out of poverty. In the next stage, these industries will continue to speed up the effort in terms of development and improve its quality. We need to ensure that the people that are already out of poverty can now have a better life and improve their disposable income. Our policy will remain stable at a general scale, but small adjustment will be made underway. We have to ensure this long-term assistance mechanism, ensure long-term financial support, so as to promote rural revitalization. This would be a national policy that remain unchanged. We'll provide special policies, especially this coordination between the East and the West, and the central government will also be providing special assistance and allocated special fundings in this regard so as to consolidate the effort, so as to prevent the returning to poverty phenomenon from happening in order to promote the overall revitalization of the rural areas. Thank you, Mr.
下
Han.
面我们有请第3位部长，
Now let's
国家体育
invite
总局高志丹
Director
局长。
Gao Zhidan of State Administration Sport.
大家好，
Hello everyone.
请提问。
The floor is open.
哦，请那个北区中间那位穿黑色上衣的男记者提问。
谢谢主持人，中央广播电视总台
Thank you.
主持人
With the CMG.
14-5 时期
Morning,
中国体
Director
育
Gao.
亮
During
眼
the
的冠军
14th Five-Year
产
Plan, Chinese
今年
sports
春节期
sector
间
had
中国体育代
exhibited
表团又
highlights.
创造了
And this
冬奥
year,
会
the
境
China
外参赛历史
team
最好成绩，
also
为15
broke a historical
改编。
record in
那么
the
请问
Winter
未
Games,
来中国体育还会有
getting
哪
the
些
15th
新
Five-Year
举
Plan
措
period off
新
to a
亮点
good start. What will be the new measures for the sports
好，
sector
谢
in
谢
China in the
对体育
future?
工作的关心。
Thank you for your
在
interest
刚刚
in
闭幕的
sports.
米兰冬奥会上，
During
中
the
国体育代
Milan
表团肩负
Winter
着
Games,
祖国和人民的
Team
期盼
China
与重托，团结拼搏，
participated
奋勇
with
争先，
high level of unity and solidarity on behalf of the Chinese people and with the high expectations from China.
继巴黎奥运会
And since
取
the
得
Paris
境外参
Games,
加夏季奥运会历史最好成绩之
we
后，
have registered the best
又取得
record
了境外
during
参加冬
the
奥
Summer
会
Games history.
历史最好
And
成
now
绩。
this time we have
这是
registered a
体
new
育
high
界为全国
in
人
the
民
field of
开
Winter
心过大年
Games.
的献礼，
So it's
更
like
是
a
全国体育
big
战线
gift and
牢记
bonus to the
习近平
Chinese
总
people
书记
during the Spring Festival,
与四
and
个
it
重要精
showcases
神，
the
在党中央
implementation of
国务院
instructions of
坚
President
强
Xi
领导
Jinping
和
in
全
four
国人民
ways.
大
Under
力
the
支持下
leadership of
立足
CPC Central
中国国
Committee
情
and with the support of the
紧跟
Chinese people,
时代
we are
步伐
deeply rooted in the
遵循
actual
体育
conditions
规
in
律
China and
发
follow
挥
the
制度优势
steps of international sports business, and we give play to our systemic advantage in order to practice on the call of building China into a big sports power. Sports carry the dreams of a national rejuvenation. With the improvement of our national strength, sports will flourish. So during the past 5 years, we have registered some new achievements. For example, the mass fitness spaces have been enlarged, and we have diversified sports activities for the public. For the teenage sports activities, they are also booming. The Hangzhou Asian Games and the Paris Olympic Winter Games, and we have continued our record-breaking performance. And we are truly innovating the practices of one country, two systems. And the scale of the sports business has been climbing up. The Chinese sports spirit and Olympic Winter Games spirit are very encouraging and inspiring. So sports carry multiple functions, and it is solely releasing its value. The Chinese sports is unleashing its vitality in an unprecedented way. All of those achievements help us to start our new journey of sports sector in the next 5 years. We must continue to be inspired to develop China into a strong sports country. There is a slogan in the sports sector saying that we must start from scratch once we step off the podium in the awarding ceremony. So in the next 5 years, we will focus on our issues and continue to deepen our reform, strengthen our governance, and take multiple measures to conquer those difficulties with a sports spirit. We are going to start a new journey of building China into a strong sports nation. As the sports for the people, we will be people-centered. Priorities will be given to increasing supply, organizing resources, and balancing the cross-regional development in order to keep meeting people's need for diversified and personalized sports activities. More games and stadiums and service resources in the sports sector will be delivered to the people, so people could truly tap into those resources and afford those resources. The 15 minutes fitness radius will be the actual area of people's happiness. So many appreciated sports activities could truly flourish across different regions, and the achievements made in the sports sector would help to improve people's sense of happiness. As to the reform of the competitive sports, we're going to take advantage of China's system and organize our experience in Milan and Paris games in order to fill in the loophole. And we are going to deepen our reform of competitive sports management mechanism and training methods in order to set up such a diversified talents cultivation system. We are going to improve the phase out and incentive systems so as to improve our international competitiveness. We have a campaign called 633. We're going to cement our position in the badminton and diving and gymnastics and weightlifting events, and continue to develop track and field, swimming, and the water sports. So, in those ways, we're also going to work on the 3 ball games, including basketball and volleyball and tennis. We're going to cement our foundation and make breakthroughs in the future Olympic Games in Los Angeles. And in that way, we are going to pave the way for the building of China into a sports power. As to the prosperity of sports culture, we are going to champion the Chinese sports spirit, especially the Beijing Olympic Winter Games spirit, and highlight the role of sports education so that the sports culture could be highly disseminated and grow in its influence and appeal. We are going to take measures to improve the atmosphere in the sports sector and by solving those phenomena. And during the competition time, we're going to have stringent discipline in our management system. So with highly efficient governance, we're going to ensure high-quality sports development. We are also going to tap into the potential of the sports industry by optimizing industrial structure, completing industrial chain, and cultivating the industry-specific talents so that the dynamism of the industry could boost sports consumption. In the journey of building China into a strong sports power, every individual could be a witness and a participant. And by joining our hands together, we are going to co-build such a strong power. Thank you.
Next question, please.
谢谢主持人。局长您好，山东广播电视台、
沈年新闻、山东国际传播中心记者提问。近年来，人民群众参与体育运动的热情越来越高，体育消费成为生活新风尚， developed a better and bigger interest in sport activities, and the sport has become a new driver for economic development. So can you tell us more, what are the measures to promote high-quality development in the sport industry, and what are our way forward? Thank you. As you mentioned, in recent years, we see an uprising in terms of people's participation in sports activities as well as sports consumption. In 2025, the percentage of people participating in sports have exceeded 38%. Mostly are at the age of 14 to 59, and their average consumption each year would be 2,500 each year. And we see a lot of hot and top activities, sports events such as the Jiangsu Football League, and we saw major potential in the development of sports industry. At the same time, we also see an increasing in the sports service industry and sports product industry. We see a steady growth in the sports manufacturing industry. In the 14th five-year plan, the scale of sport industry is up by 8.8% and 10.5% respectively. After the Beijing Winter Olympics, we see better results in terms of encouraging people to participate in winter sports. From 24 to 2025, the number of people participating in winter sports has exceeded 290 million. We see more people interested in the winter sports, winter traveling, as well as other winter activities. And the winter industry has also exceeded our expectations. In the Milano Olympic Winter Games that has just concluded, we saw implementation of Chinese AI technologies being applied widely in the Winter Olympics, and the Chinese brands are providing gears and clothing to many NOCs in the Winter Games. So the State Council and the Party Central Committee have implemented a series of documents and measures to promote the development of winter sports and its related industry, so as to further invigorate the development of the sport industry. And we have already addressed a lot of problems and bottlenecks, difficulties in this regard. In the next step, we will continue to prioritize our measures and will be working with the NDRC to unleash the 49 outdoor sports activity locations so as to further improve the level of sports infrastructure in multiple places. We will also be promoting policies, implementing policies to help with the financing of sports-related businesses. In terms of empowerment of a major sports event, we will help with the publication and publicity of the sports event at the community level and at the rural areas. And we will organize a lot of activities related to the major sports event. And we will encourage more people to participate in sport activities and sports events at multiple levels. In terms of platform building, we have held important meetings concerning outdoor activities and the exhibition for sport production, so as to increase the synergy in the sports industry. So we saw great potential in the development of sport industry, so we will further promote high-quality development in this regard. First, the policy must lead the way. We will research and study the policy and documents concerning the development of the sport industry, especially those concerning winter sports and outdoor activities. We will also be promoting the integration of the multiple industries with sport. And second, we will be introducing high-level international sport events, all the while promoting the local major sports event. And their healthy development is key to the participation of young people as well as the collective sports participation. 3, we will strengthen the standard-making mechanism of the sport industry and lay a solid foundation for the healthy development of the sport industry. Thank you, Minister Gao. Dear friends from the press, that concludes this morning's Ministers' Corridor. And on March the 12th, we will be holding the last Ministers' Corridor here. We will see you then. Thank you.